Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hey everybody, welcome to You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul. This is Justin Rigliani, and today we're going to be talking about seeing beyond the exterior, and it's probably going to be a little different than what you think it's going to be. One of the impetus for this show, the one thing that made me think to do this was for me, it's been a rough couple weeks. Taking punch after punch after punch after punch gets old after a while. It really does. And on the exterior, sometimes you can hide it, and you can act like, well, what that song Tears of the Clown, you could act like you're the party, the life of the party, and still then go home and not feel anywhere like the life of the party, and be down. And several things have happened. Everybody knows that I've been separated since October, which that doesn't bother me as much, because it's past, and it was coming, and I'm not grieving over that anymore. Was at the time, sure, but not now. But then I lost my uncle, and I found out about a friend who's got a sickness that's debilitating, that's going to end his life, and it's just been a pounding, and it's amazing. Got in hit a pothole last week or 2 weeks ago, blew out a tire on the side of the road. I'm on the bridge, what was it, the Broad Street Bridge, and had to get service to get the tire taken off. Now, I was already taking the tire off, but if you take off a tire, you have to have the strength of Hercules, because they tighten them so hard with those pneumatic drills, that to try to get the lug nuts off is not like it was 40 years ago, where you could just turn the lug nuts. Now they're on so tight, it's like you have to jump on it to try to get them off. So yeah, I was pretty frustrated, and the big gaping hole in the tire, so I wasn't happy about that. And a couple of weeks before that, I got rear-ended, so the car was hammered for $5,000. That was not easy to put up with. I mean, yeah, the insurance covered it after a while, but I didn't know what was going to be covered, what was not going to be covered. Had some trouble with GoFundMe, and looked like I was going to possibly lose $7,000 for the charity, which drove me up a wall and kept me up at night and had me just burning with anger. It's a pounding. It's just one thing after the other. And then got the car fixed last week. I got it back on Wednesday, and on Saturday night, somebody hit me again in the parking lot, same place, in the back of the car, and drove away. Thank goodness somebody got their license plate, and I fully intend to make sure that they pay the price for it. I'm making sure their insurance pays for it. I'm not paying for it. But you take blow after blow after blow after blow after blow, and it's like, man, when does it end? When do you get a break? When does it stop? And then last week, there are a couple of things that happened personally that I won't share, but they were some devastating blows, and they were the kind of blows that make you wonder, what the hell did I work for all this for? Why did I put myself through what I put myself through? And you feel like you let your kids down. You feel like you didn't do the job that you thought you would do. What would happen, and to be honest with you, not to be political, but the tariffs have hurt me. I lost business because of the tariffs, so that took more money out of my pocket, which is not good. I had a possible working with some folks from China on some things for ostomy supplies that I haven't mentioned, and looks like that's going to fall apart now. That's not going to work. So you have all these things that are just things that looks like they're falling into your lap, and you think, wow, this is really starting to work out, and then you realize that it doesn't always work out, and it just feels to me like just one punch in the face after the other. And I have a mix of depression, but also rage. It's a mix of both that I'm struggling with. So I was looking through the internet, and I remembered a scene from Rocky 3. And in Rocky 3, there's a scene on the beach. And this is, it's funny. And this is what I'm talking about by seeing through the exterior. One is what I just told you. Most people wouldn't know that. If I teach a class, they don't see how frustrated I am. They don't see the fury that I go through, or they don't see any of the just wanting to go to sleep. They don't see that. They see a happy-go-lucky instructor who's given everything they got, and the exterior isn't necessarily what's going on inside. And that's again what I wanted to talk about today, and that's why I know Dr. Jacklin was a little confused with why my topic was my topic, but Sylvester Stallone is another example of that. I always think of him with this. So many people think he's not intelligent, or he's not brilliant, or he's not the classical actor. But the reasons why is the exterior. It's the roles that he plays. He plays the tough guy roles, right? Rocky and Rambo and all those other roles that he played, that where he had to be the big muscle guy and the tough guy. But behind that is an intelligence that is beyond words, and his writing ability is beyond words. And this is what I mean by we missed the boat with something. Now, why do people think that somebody like that isn't bright? One is the way he speaks. Well, he was born, and they had to take him out with forceps, and it crushed part of his palate. So yeah, he does have a speech impediment, and he admits to that. I mean, obviously, he can't cover it up. I mean, it is what it is. But people look at that and they say, "Well, oh, he's not that bright because he, ayo, that type of thing, yo Rocco, that stuff." And he's using his disability to try to make movies. I mean, he doesn't have a choice, right? We all don't have a choice. Whatever we have, we got. So I want to talk about two scenes in two of his movies that show you the real intelligence behind Sylvester Stallone, and not what people think just because of the way he talks, or the way he looks, or the roles that he plays. One is in Rocky 3, when he's on the beach and he's running against Apollo Creed. They're running a race because Apollo is trying to get him ready to fight Clubber Lang in the ring and win his title back, because he thought Rocky lost it for all the wrong reasons, and he wanted to get Rocky the title back. And he said, "Rock, we're going to go and we're going to get this title back. I'm going to train you, and I'm going to make you a better fighter than you've ever been before." And they go on the beach, and Rocky starts running with Apollo. And then in Rocky's mind, they play a montage of him being beaten. And they play a montage of Clubber Lang, who was played by Mr. T, pounding on him and drilling him in the face. And you could see his glassy eyes. And you could see the blood coming out of his face. And you could see he was a beaten man. And as he's running down the beach, he's beaten mentally. He's really reliving that. And he stops running. He just stops running in the middle of the race. And Apollo Creed doesn't realize that. Apollo Creed continues to run, and he gallops to the end full speed, and he turns around thinking Rocky's going to be right on his heels. And Rocky's standing there with his hands on his hips. And you might say, well, how is that brilliant? How is that a brilliantly written scene? Well, what's brilliant about that scene is what happens next. And that's his wife, Adrian, who throughout Rocky 1 and 2, and even 3, was the babe in the woods. She didn't know anything. She was not, she was very quiet. She was very shy. She had no fight to her. She kind of went with the wind and was really weak. And now she comes up to Rocky, and he's standing there with his hands on his waist, and she knows that he's beaten. He's done. I mean, even with the will that the character Rocky had, he's done. And what the brilliance is Sylvester Stallone flipped the script. He changed and made her the fighter and him the person who needed to be picked up. He actually flipped it. If you look at the scene, if you watch it, it's called the beach scene. If you go on YouTube, you can watch it. And she's yelling at him and screaming at him and saying, what's the truth? And what do we have that we can't replace? We have cars, we have money, we have everything. What is it that we can't replace? And he's trying to evade her questions, and he's doubting himself. And then she says, we have everything but the truth. What's the truth, damn it? And then he finally screams, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid. And she said, you're human, aren't you? And he says, look, I don't know what I am. All I know is I'm a liar. And if it wasn't for me, my manager, Mickey, would still be here. So he's blaming himself for the death of his manager. But the whole brilliance behind this is, and the whole reason why I'm bringing this up is, people will look at Sylvester Stallone and say things like, not that bright, the way he speaks. He's got the speech impediment. He plays roles that aren't typical intellectual roles. He's not a chess superstar. He's not somebody who's won a Nobel Prize, all these different people that you could play. He's not a great pilot that saves, like Sully saving the plane. He's just a fighter. But the brilliance of Sylvester Stallone is that he knows how to grab the emotion by flipping the script. And he did that with that scene. And I think that's amazing that he was able to do that, because he made her the fighter, and he put him in the weak position and made her the strong one. And it's not easy to do that when your character is a former heavyweight champion of the world and built like Sylvester Stallone was built at the time. And then the other one was in Rocky 1, where he was the thug, and he had to work for the loan shark, and he had to break the thumb of the guy who borrowed money from the loan shark, Gazzo. He had to break his thumb, and Rocky hunted him down and found him. But when he got to him, he couldn't break his thumb. He couldn't bring himself to break his thumb, and he let him go. And there's a book, I think his name is Blake Snyder, called Saving the Cat. And that's one of the things that they talk about in cinema is, if you take somebody who's not likable, but make them do something that is very likable, like save a cat, they become very likable. Even though there are things about them you don't like, they did something that makes them endearing to you. So Rocky was this thug that was going to break this guy's thumb, and he didn't do it. He didn't break his thumb. He let him go, and he saved the cat. That was part of his brilliance. But these are just two examples, and then the only two I'm going to use, and that's it with the movie, or movies. But my point is, we look at somebody like Sylvester Stallone and say, well, he just does silly fighting movies, where and the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, the way there's a brilliance behind what's written there. That's not an accident. That's what we miss. And I looked at that scene on the beach and I thought to myself, why do men have to always be strong? Like I've been, obviously, ever since I've been separated, I've looked into what life is like being single and what life is like trying to find somebody and trying to get your life back together again. And everything is, women don't want a weak man. They want a strong man. They want this man to be confident and strong. And well, I mean, you can be some of the time, but for God's sake, I mean, we're human too. I mean, do you think that there's not a time or maybe a period of time where we've taken enough blows to the head that we got to go down and take the 8 count? I'm not saying get knocked out, but I'm saying can we have a moment where we just kind of kneel down and take the standing 8 count and get back up and fight again? I mean, this idea that men can carry tremendous loads all the time and not be affected by it and have to be stoic. It's a lot. I've been reading and listening to a lot of the Stoics, Greek Stoics, and I don't think it's possible. I mean, they say, well, don't worry about things you can't control. Well, how the hell do you do that? I mean, it's not always that easy. It's not always that simple to not be concerned about things, even if they're beyond your control. One of the things they say is that, if you're looking to have a relationship with a woman, the only way to do it is to prove that you're strong and that nothing can break you. Well, I got to break the news to women, men, people in general. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a man. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're a world champion fighter. I don't care if you're a hockey player. I don't care if you're a weightlifter. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're the greatest lawyer in the history of the world. You're not going to tell me that you're strong 100% of the time. And if you do, you're lying. You're lying, because we're not. Unless you're not human, you're lying. So if there are women out there that are looking for the ultimate never break down, always in control, constantly confident, always shoulders up and not ever broken down, you ain't never going to find them. And if you do, that is somebody who's just hiding behind the exterior, because inside, that's not necessarily what's happening. And then women today can be the Adrian. They could be the Adrian. They could be the one who says, hey, get out of it. I'll be the tough one now. I'm the one that's going to be strong today. You be weak. You have your shoulders set back and be down and be withdrawn. And I'll be the one who will help pick you up. What's wrong with that? And that was why I watched that scene. I watched it over and over again over the last couple of weeks. And like I said, I mean, it's been one thing after another. I mean, you can't take hit after hit after hit after hit. Money, the prospect of financial issues that could be life changing. I mean, things that you never saw coming when you grew up. As you grew up, life wasn't supposed to be exactly like it's turned out to be for me. I didn't expect to be in the position that I am now. I didn't expect to ever have chronic illness and have to have a surgery that I had. I didn't expect to be divorced in my life. I didn't expect a lot of things. I expected more. And I'm a type A personality. I don't want to lose. I don't want to give in. I don't want to, I talked to my therapist. That's another thing. I mean, my therapist, I've been with him since 1997. And I used to see him once a week. And now I see him periodically. And I don't think that's good. I think I need to be seen more and talk more and let more out and understand more about myself and about other people, because it's just not enough. It's a struggle. And, what people see is can be so different than what's happening now. Am I telling you that I'm always sad and always upset and always angry and always different than what I show up as Monday nights on here or in the classroom? No, sometimes I am that guy. Most of the time I am. But over the last couple of weeks, have I been that guy? No, I haven't. But when you're losing money and you're bleeding money left and right, and you have to disappoint your kids and tell them that they can't do certain things that they thought they were going to do, like telling my daughter that she couldn't go to the school she wanted to because we didn't have the money for it. Those types of things, you just take them and they beat you to a pulp. I mean, they rip you apart, and you're supposed to be the dad. You're supposed to be the tough guy, and you're not supposed to get upset, and you hold it in as much as you can. But at some point, there just is no more left. There's no more fight left, and you're just out. You're just out for a while, and you're down. And that's where I am right now. I tried. I thought last week I turned the corner. I felt like I had everything coming back under control, and I'm not. I'm still frustrated. I'm still yeah, upset. I would say upset. Um, Still fighting it. Still trying to find the positive. And I know people try to be helpful, and I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate the friends and family who try to help through those difficult times. But at the same time, I'm 50 years old, and sooner or later, I'm gonna have to decide what decisions are the right decisions for me personally, regardless of what other people think they are or they aren't. And I've tried a lot of my life to be what I was supposed to be, and not maybe what I wanted to be. You know, um, there are. I'm happy for a lot of people for the success that they have, but I also look sometimes, and I don't know how many of you feel this way, but sometimes I feel like I'm looking through the window watching a family have this big meal, almost like a Christmas Carol. And I'm watching from the outside, and everybody's having a great time, and I'm looking in. I'm in second place. I'm behind. I'm waiting to try to get my share. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's coming. It feels like you're running on a treadmill, and you can run. A treadmill goes 12.5 miles an hour. That's how fast it goes. I can run about 15, but guess what? It doesn't matter, because I'm not going to run anywhere far. I'm going to be right on the treadmill. So it doesn't matter how hard I run. It's only going to allow me to go so far. And that's a frustrating feeling, especially when, I had a documentary that I started, a book that I've written and had not published, but had edited and never got a chance to get it out yet. And there's so much unfinished business. And I look at other people who get these things done, and I think, why am I not getting these things done? Why am I, the one who is struggling, the one who's got to fight for every scrap? Why does it come easy to other people when, I'm battling like as hard as I can, and it's just not coming. It's very, very difficult to swallow that. It's hard for me to swallow that. And it in some ways it makes you want to work harder, but in other ways it does get you to the point where you're like, what's the point? How much is too much? How much, what else do you try? What else do you do? And I'm not complaining about other people. I'm not blaming anyone because my problems are my problems, and I've made mistakes in my life, and they've bit me, and everybody has. I'm not unique. Everyone's going through that, but there's a frustration. There's an inability to understand why it's got to be so hard. Why can't anything ever come easy? How does my car get rear-ended and then it's not? I got it Wednesday of last week. I mean, literally Wednesday of last week, and it got hit on Saturday. That's less than a week. It's what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days, right? In 3 days, the car got hit again. And I'm thinking, I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Here I am struggling to pay lawyers' fees, trying to put a kid through college, another child, another daughter coming up behind her at 14, and well, she'll be 14, and have to pay for another college. And now I'm going to have to find a rent and buy my own insurance. And then you have the problems with companies that are now not, because the economy's having trouble, and because of the problems in the stock market and the tariffs, some of the companies aren't paying what they were going to pay. So what do they drop? They drop training, right? Because that's what I do. I train. So the first thing that gets cut is usually training. And guess what? Here we go again, because it happened in 2008 too. So this is not a shock, but it's like, you got to be kidding me. I put in the time. I'm 50 years old. I put in the effort. I've worked. I've battled. I've gone through a lot. I've had, like, again, the surgery, chronic illness, and everything. And it's just like, man, when's enough enough? When do you finally say, what, I'm, I'm going to win this time. A lot of people talk about, and I hear this a lot, and it plays in my head sometimes. You'll hear somebody get a diagnosis of a serious disease, and they're so positive about it, which they should be. There's value in that, to be positive. I'm going to beat this, and the chances are like 99% that they're not. But they'll say, I'm going to beat this, and they have this attitude that they're going to win. And deep down, I wonder if they know that they're not. Deep down, I wonder if that's just the exterior. Deep down, I wonder if they think to themselves, yeah, I'm going to put this face up, but I know my chances are slim. My chances are 99 to 1. I mean, if you're a betting person, that's not a really great odds, right? But some people seem to be able to fight through that and be able to be happy. Now, are they happy when they're with you? Are they happy when you see them? What are they like when they step away from you, when the doors are closed, when they're in their bedroom, when they're in the bathroom, when they're in the shower? What are they feeling? What are they doing? Are they crying? Are they angry? Are they, punching things? Are they kicking things? Are they yelling, yelling to the pillow, screaming at the top of their lungs in anger and frustration? I think that's probably a lot more common than what people let on. And I think it's more allowed for women than it is for men. I think at least that's what I'm getting from these websites. Oh, we have a comment that just came in, so let's check that out. Let's check out the first comment here. So Rachel, not sure if anyone else is having issues like me. I've learned some people give the impression that they have their stuff together and not share their struggles. That's okay too. It is okay. You don't have to share your struggles. Rachel says, hang in there, you're Philly strong. Thanks, Rachel. So are you. Rachel's from the Philadelphia area, just like me. We grew up together in high school through a common friend. And she's right. You don't have to share your struggles with anybody. Nobody's telling you. I'm doing it because I want to do it. I'm not doing it because I feel like I have to, or I feel like anybody else should have to. If people want to be reserved and not say anything about their own struggles, that's fine. And I don't repeat anybody's problems. I don't. If somebody confides in me and they say, "Listen, I don't want to talk about this to anybody else, but I'll talk to you about it. Please don't say anything." I don't. I mean, I respect that, because if you do that once, only once, they'll never talk to you about anything again, and neither will anybody else, as well as they should. If you betray somebody's confidence like that, you should be done as far as being a confidant. So I take that very seriously, and that's something that I agree with Rachel. You don't have to share all those things. Now, I share them because one of the things I talk to my therapist about all the time is that we don't share this stuff. That people like these Stoics, they talk about, the only men that will ever find women are the ones that are strong, and they could take whatever, and no matter what happens, they don't get disappointed and they don't get demoralized. And BS. That's not true. Every human being gets demoralized. Every human being gets embarrassed. Every human being falls down. There's not one person, I don't care how tough you think you are, you're not going to be able to get through this life without disappointment, without sadness, without heartbreak, without injury. You're just not. And you're going to die. I mean, eventually every one of us is going to go. And there's nothing we can do about it. You can't change these things. And I know, again, people say there it's beyond your control, so don't worry about it. Well, that's easier said than done. Now, it's beyond your control. Don't get upset. Don't let it bother you. I don't know how to do that. I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm not the one that can give you advice on how not to do that. When I teach in classes, again, exterior, right? Seeing beyond the exterior. I had a friend one time whose daughter had cancer. Luckily, two friends, they were a couple that went to school with me. And I use them as an example. I don't use their names, but I use them as an example. When I go into a class and I teach classes on how to be a good leader and how to work with people, there's this stupid saying that I find absolutely ridiculous, that whatever happens at home, leave at home. Whatever happens at work, leave it at work. That's impossible. It doesn't work that way. If I was the guy whose daughter had cancer, would I step over the threshold of the doorway for work and all of a sudden forget that my daughter would be in the hospital with cancer? Is that in any way, shape, or form a possibility? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. You're at work now, so don't think about your personal life. Think about what's going on. Yeah. How do you do it? I'm not saying you don't fight and keep going forward and you don't try to keep moving forward and trying to get through your day and trying to fight through it. But do you think it's not going to cross your mind 1,000 times during the day? It's going to cross your mind constantly. Or how about if you have a big presentation at work and you come home and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you know this presentation's got to go well. And if it doesn't, it's a problem. Aren't you up in the middle of the night looking at the ceiling? Aren't you pacing the floor? You're home. You're not at work, but you're a unit. You can't separate the two. You can't be something else when you're somewhere else just because you are somewhere else. Yeah, there are distractions, sure. You can watch movies, you can read, you can try to get engrossed in something else that takes your mind off of these things. But it's not going to last forever. I mean, they're going to come back. They're going to creep back into your head, and you're going to have to keep fighting them all over again. They're going to be demons that are going to come after you constantly. Every time I get in my car right now, there's this rage in me. It's like this thing just got hit, and it just got hit again. I gotta go through all this stuff, and it's not just the money. It's also the time and having to get it in the shop and having to get it redone again. And I don't know if the insurance company is going to now say, hey, that's two within 4 weeks or whatever, so we're going to cut you off. So there's the worry of putting in another claim and then saying, well, you have too many claims and my insurance rate goes up, or they drop me completely for something that was completely not my fault. I wasn't even in the car. I was parked. And then for somebody to drive away and leave it, that's it's a lot. It's a lot. So I guess what I'm saying is you don't know what's going on in everybody's life. I've heard people say Justin's got it all together. He's got everything going for him. He's got, a TV show. He's got a business. He's got this. He's got that. Always confident, great shape, especially for 50 and all that stuff. Well, guess what? I don't have everything. I don't. There are things that I don't have that I wish I had. And I know you're supposed to be grateful for what you have. And in some ways I am. And in other ways I'm not. Sometimes I look and I think, this is more than that I want to have to handle. And it's going to get worse for a while, which is the hard part. My parents getting older, family members getting older, aunts and uncles. I mean, already lost one uncle this year. I mean, it's not like I didn't know this stuff was coming. I'm not an idiot. I as you get older, these things are going to continually happen. It's just a part of the life in its continuum, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard or that it's not going to be something that's going to take you off your pins for a while, and then you're going to have to get back up again. But I guess I'm a little deflated by what I hear on the internet and what I hear from people about, they're on the one end, they talk about toxic masculinity and how, masculinity, if it's overdone, is toxic, which I agree, it can be. I mean, there's some stupid stuff that happens in the name of masculinity and testosterone. Absolutely. Absolutely. But on the other hand, you hear, if you're not the stoic, if you're not the always confident, if you're not always in control, then you're not a real man. It can't be both. It can't be both. Both can't be true. And the one that's not true is the second one, where you're always strong, you're always on top, you're always, hey, nothing, anything happens, I got total control. No, you don't. If you think you do, you're lying to yourself. That's part of maybe that's the exterior for some people, for themselves. They look in the mirror and they say, I got everything under control. It's all mine. I got it. And sometimes you might really feel that. And it might be real. And there are other times that you might look in the mirror and say it and you don't feel it at all. You're just looking in the mirror, saying words. That's all. So, again, why did I use Sylvester Stallone as the example? Because there's brilliance that comes from sources that you wouldn't think are brilliant. It's funny when as we wrap up the show, when I worked for the Port Authority back in the 90s, when I was in college, I was 18 and 19 years old when I worked for the Port Authority. And it was amazing the disrespect that the workers had, who are blue collar, had for us, the college kids. They would say, oh, the college boys, they don't know the real world. They're a bunch of, just college kids, and they totally, make college seem like it was silly and it was a waste of time. And then on the flip side of that, the college kids, are like, look at these knuckle draggers, these mechanics or these maintenance guys, they don't know anything. They didn't go to school. They're uneducated. And everybody had their, their own, like, what I do is more important than what they do. And what they do is more important than what I do. Well, maybe what everybody does is just as important as everybody else's. Because let me tell you something, if your car breaks down and you don't have a mechanic or you don't have somebody who's going to change a tire and you don't have a good jack, good luck. You know, I don't care if you have a PhD, it's not going to help you. And if you're somebody who is more blue collar and you are trying to do something that is beyond your capabilities, it's okay to rely on somebody who's educated enough to help you, because you could do things that they can't do and they can do things that you can't do. So the exterior is not always what you see is what you get. Sometimes there's a lot more layers than what we see. So on that note, we're going to end the show. And before we do that, we're going to do what we usually do. We're going to play our video about the upcoming hockey game on August 23rd, 2025. It's going to be the Checkmates Charitable Association NHL Celebrity Hockey Game. And here we go.
Hey everybody, I just want to tell you how thankful I am that you came out tonight and helped us out on a very special evening. Crohn's and colitis are terrible diseases and they affect a lot of people, not only in the Delaware Valley, but all over the world. And hopefully we can find a cure someday.
Lou Nolan here with you at the Checkmates versus the Flyers alumni. We had a great time this afternoon. Game was close, and we're all here for Checkmates Charities, which is the real reason that everybody's here, not only the players, but all the fans that were here. It was a great day, and we're really happy to be here.
It was fun to be out here at Northeast Skate Zone because the Checos were a pretty good team, and so we had a lot of fun with the charity. And it was good because they took it easy on us old guys. So we had a good time. So anytime you can do something for charity, and I know a couple guys on the other team, and just be on the rink, we all go have fun.
Good times go. I'm either gone in an instant or here to the bitter end. I never know what I've got.
I want to thank my family for all that they did to help me get through this, and there's a lot of planning that gets to get done. It has to get done. I want to thank Nick's Roast Beef and Common Avenue for all they've done. Dr. Prieto for saving my life, finding the disease and treating me for so long, and the Flyers organization for all they do to help us raise money every year. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
I'll see you when I'm gonna see. Baby, I'm ready to go. Baby, I'm ready to go. Baby, I'm ready to go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think you can see here that I need a win. So my hope is that you will purchase tickets and go to the website www.checkmatescharity.com. The link to the Eventbrite is on that site on the homepage. We've had some changes. We had doesn't look like Kevin Dineen's going to be there, but we are going to have Riley Cote come in and play. So it looks like Kevin Dineen's still on there. There's an outside chance, but Riley Cote's been added, so that's great. He's a great guy. I've met Riley many times. He's a friend. And, we're hoping for the rest. Mark Recchi, Rod Brindamore, and we'll see what happens. Other celebrities will be there as well. So get your tickets, get them early if you can. We'll try to sell this place out. Like I said, it's a labor of love. I don't make a penny off of this, not a penny. And we need your help when we need to help people who have inflammatory bowel disease and ostomy. So please check it out. All right. And congratulations to Dr. Jacqueline and to the TV station, USA Global TV and Radio, for going over 100,000 subscribers. That's fantastic. And let's help us grow and keep pushing us. All right. Thanks a lot. I will see you next Monday.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacqueline.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.